Jessica, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what brought you to Judy's house initially?
Oh, you bet, Erica, and it's nice to be with you today. I worked in the Colorado nonprofit community for most of my adult professional life, so I'd known of Judy's House and had admired the work that we do here. And then a little more than 8 years ago, I had the firsthand need to actually come to Judy's House as a client. So I sit in a unique position that I know what it feels like to actually bring my family to Judy's House. And more than 8 years ago, my husband of 20 years died by suicide. And at that time, my kids were 7 and 11. And needless to say, my world was turned completely upside down. I was working what I felt was a high pressure job at the time, and frankly, needed a safe place to grieve and to work with my two kids to reconstitute what our version of family looked like and how we were going to begin to put the pieces back together of our life and figure out what our grief journey looked like. And there was no support available to us like what we were able to receive at Judy's House. We spent an entire year with the amazing staff, volunteers of this amazing organization. And we could feel every time we showed up that truly the real intent of this organization was to create a space for us to work on our grief and to support each other and to support other families that came forward. And it truly made a difference in the trajectory of my family's life. My two kids now, I have one who is a sophomore in high school and also one who's a sophomore in college. They're both successful, and we all talk about how many of the coping strategies and resiliency training that we received here helped us, as best it can as we look forward and tried to move forward after that.
What do you think makes Judy's house so unique?
There are so many things that are incredibly unique and special about this organization. And I've thought a lot about this lately. In fact, we recently revised our values to put more emphasis on the word courage. And I think actually we are an incredibly courageous organization in that we take on work that many folks would shy away from. To work with families who are grieving a death loss is something that takes an amazing amount of courage and skill and passion and willingness. And if you think about our vision that no child should be alone in grief, that's an incredibly lofty vision. We do amazing work with direct service, working with our clients one-on-one and as a family in our direct service model. But we also know if we're going to achieve our vision that no child should be alone in grief, there's so much more that has to be done. We can only see so many kids and families within the walls of our organization. So that's why we created the JAG Institute, so that we could also make a difference really in the world around a grieving child and the world around a grieving family to help change the environment to be more supportive. We do that through several initiatives. We undertake research that helps our field in general through the JAG Institute, looking at bereavement estimation models, data that can help other organizations do their jobs better as they support grieving families. And we also spend a ton of time on training and education, working with interns and postgraduate trainees to really support training around bereavement work in our communities. So I think this willingness to not shy away from large objectives, a big vision, a big goal for our organization, and actually make a difference, I think is something that really distinguishes us. And even looking back in our history, when we started, we were a peer volunteer supported organization where those who sat with the grieving families were volunteers. And as we saw the immense complexities that come with grief, we decided to invest in and change what our organization looks like to be pretty rare in our field, that we actually employ licensed clinicians to support that work. So we really can meet our clients where they are and provide the highest level of support while they are on that grief journey.
Given all that's changed and how much the organization has grown, what do you think the Judy's House needs to continue on this path and to thrive in the future?
One of the beautiful things about this organization is that we truly were created by the community. We were created by Brooke and Brian Greasy and done with the support of philanthropy from this community. So we were created by the community to in turn support this community. Everything we do is free of charge, and everything we do is supported by philanthropy. So when I think about our organization, I think we really have become a part of the fabric of the Denver metro and Colorado community. We started as a small nonprofit and quickly became known as and are an essential service in a space that just isn't occupied by anybody else other than us. So as we look to the future, I think sustainability is key. We're moving into a beautiful new home this year on our 20th anniversary. And we're thinking about what the next 20 years of this organization will look like, the next 40 years of this organization. And honestly, my hope and wish and the work that we do is to continue bolstering, being grateful and bolstering the support we do feel from the community from a philanthropic standpoint, so that we can continue to offer the services that we do for all who need us for free, and to really remain that essential piece in the community that helps with the fabric of the society that we support.